The Toronto Raptors end their West Coast road trip on the worst note possible as they fall in humongous fashion to the Utah Jazz. I'd say let's get into our post-game show here, but I'm so sick of the game that we're doing this post-game show before we even get to the post-game. 5 minutes still to go, but this game is done. Let's break it down and just find out where it got this bad. Reminder, everybody, we do content like this for every Raptors game. Get subscribed to the channel. There will be better days than this, surely, than this one we have against the Utah Jazz. And smash that like button to support the channel. Drive us up in that YouTube algorithm. Subscribe for more Raptors content. All right. My mind's in a twist here because the Raptors were just absolutely horrific tonight. Just absolutely horrific tonight. Pretty much start to finish. We're not even at the finish yet, but I don't imagine it's going to get any better. The lineup out right now is Boucher, McDaniels, Temple, Jonte Porter, Grady Dick. Not going to be a five that gets you anything really much out of this game here. The Jazz just absolutely blew the doors off the Raptors. Now, granted, the Jazz have been blowing the brakes off of a lot of teams here. They beat the Sixers by 11. They beat the Bucks by 16 and the Nuggets by 14. In their last 3 games. They've won 9 of their last 11. After they beat us tonight, it'll be 10 of their last 12. And it will be 4 consecutive double-digit wins. This Jazz team has turned a corner. They are impressive. But I don't really care what team you're playing. A night like tonight is unacceptable. A scoreline like this is unacceptable. And perhaps what's the most alarming and unacceptable about the way the Raptors have played today is when you look at their percentages. Now, the Raptors have shot the ball extremely well tonight. They are 56.7% shooting from 3, 17 of 30 right now. However, they are 44% in the game. In the first half, they made 5 two-pointers. 5. That's it. They made 5 more in the third quarter. They've gotten themselves up a little bit now. You know, they've made 16 twos now in the game. But the Raptors on offense, first of all, in the first half, the offense, I'm everywhere right now. But first half, offensively, the Raptors, this free-flowing offense, this ball movement offense that seemed to be so nice the last 6 games where, you know, even in losses, we were like, wow, the offense looks so good. What an entertaining team. Today, that just completely evaporated. The Utah Jazz went zone. The Raptors had no ability whatsoever to create advantages. When they got their open looks, like I said, they're hitting their threes. Inside, though, nowhere to go, no space, no advantages created with the off-ball movement, with the passing, and defensively, where the Raptors have been bad all season, even worse since the trade's been made. We've made it up, you know, where our offense is good, and we understand there's a defensive deficiency here, but offensively, the schemes, I'm not going to blame too much because even still, the Raptors had looks and weren't making them. Like, how many smoked layups by the Raptors tonight? Defensively is where there's issues. I don't know if Darko saw the Utah Jazz zone defense and said, well, that's working so well. Why don't we do it? Darko puts out a zone defense pretty much the entire half for the Raptors. And, like, usually when you come up with a defensive scheme, you take away something and sacrifice something else. You don't let the other team have everything. They were hitting their threes, no problem. Markkanen was hitting tons of shots from deep. Colin Sexton was picking apart the zone, getting every look he wanted on the inside. If the Jazz missed, they got a ton of offensive rebounds as well in this game. They have 12 offensive rebounds as I speak right now. Size was a factor, I get it. But going zone here wasn't solving anything. And Darko took way too long to recognize that. He got the defensive schemes completely wrong today, and as a result, the Jazz have absolutely demolished the Raptors and blown this team out. I mean, the adjustments on the fly have just really not been good enough from Darko all season, and offensively, his ability, I mean, like, yeah, when there's spacing and everything, like, it's starting to work, yes, all this is good, but when he actually has to come up with some play design and actually has to dig in and come up with something for this team to score, he just falls short and just doesn't have anything in his bag to go to. The one get out of jail free card that he has is Pascal Siakam. he won't have him for very long. It looks like Siakam trade. I mean, this could very well be Pascal Siakam's final game for the Raptors. What an offensive night from him. 27 points, 8 of 14 shooting, 5 of 6 from 3. But Siakam took 4 field goals attempts in the entire first half. Like, your get-out-of-jail-free card here is a Siakam isolation. Give him a screen. Let him attack. Get him downhill to the rim. Get him in the post. Like, that's your ticket to points. And he never uses him. So we're going to use Siakam like this. I mean, just get rid of him here. Thankfully, more from Siakam in the second half offensively, but he's not exempt from how poor he was defensively. It just looked like second half this team had given up. I give credit this team a little bit in, like, you know, the fake comebacks, the quote, the term that's been going around for this Raptors team. I get the frustration. Why don't you turn it on sooner? I'd much rather a fake comeback than this. Right now, the Raptors are down 130 to 103 right now to the Jazz. So I get this whole fake comeback stuff is annoying, but what's even more annoying is when the team gives up. And it very much looked like the team had given up on this game in the second half, and here we are. Absolutely blown out and embarrassed. Shout out the Jazz. They played some terrific ball. Will Hardy's a great coach, but a night this bad is inexcusable. I mean, we look down the list here. Emmanuel Quickley had 10 early points, was a disaster on defense tonight. He went 3 of 3 from 3, but he goes 1 of 5 on 2s. Emmanuel Quickley's rim pressure game needs to improve a little bit. His floater game is there, but like right at the rim, he smoked some layups today, and that's becoming a little too much of a theme in his game. That's the next level for him, but not going to get too nitpicky. RJ Barrett, oh my God, does he come back down to earth? We're witnessing the RJ Barrett experience. He was 0 of 7 from the field in the first half. Now, it's nice he hit both of his second half shots, but RJ Barrett finishes with 4 points. Barnes actually did well in offense here. 6 of 13, 2 of 4 from 3, 19 points, but he wasn't great on defense. Thaddeus Young didn't get the same minutes as he had been getting. Foul trouble, not playing well. Off the bench, Jonte Porter getting heavy minutes. Look, Jonte Porter's plugging a hole for this team, but having to play Jonte Porter heavy minutes is not really a great position for your team to be in. Dennis Schroeder couldn't get the spark off the bench today. Gary Trent looked lost out there, like he didn't know what he was doing in the first half. Will only get 22 minutes here as a result. Like, just did not know what he was doing. Really sloppy. And Chris Boucher, like, oh my God. Like, just, he looks like a 6-man, like Naif Yada said in the chat. He'll look like a 6-man of the year candidate. Then the next day looks like a 10-day contract player. Had no idea what was going on out there. He was just running around. It was ugly. It was real ugly here. Some excuses people might use: altitude, 6th game of your road trip, you're fatigued, the altitude isn't helping that. Sure, I get it, but scheme-wise, they got this one wrong. Offensively, when Darko actually has to call a play, actually has to try and break something down, he falls short, and there's no positives really to take away from this game. Because, even though Siakam is still playing well offensively, like, we just don't use him. You know what? One positive I'll say, Siakam, to his credit, is in all of these trade rumors. Chris Haynes, I think back with ESPN now, reported that Siakam is like, the Raptors and Siakam are very close to parting ways. Nonetheless, he's staying professional, coming in, doing his job, back from injury here. How much can I blame on defense? Everybody was horrible and looked like they gave up on this game. So we shoot well. In the end, we're starting to shoot better, I guess. But, second chance possessions here. No room in the paint for this team. They score 54 points in the paint. We actually shot up to 32. We had 6 at halftime. But this game was ugly. There's not much to... It just felt like we're back to where we were before the trade, where there was just nothing going on. Nothing going on for this team. So, thankfully, the end of the West Coast road trip here, the Raptors, we had hopes. They went 2-1 to start the road trip, with saying, hey, they can go at least 3-3 on the road trip. They go 2-4 on the road trip. And the bigger problem perhaps is on the return home. Not only do the Raptors players have fun in the Toronto snowstorm going on right now and possibly through the weekend, they come home and get the Celtics on Monday. Tough one. Celtics looking to rebound from that blowout against the Bucks. And then they get the Heat on Wednesday. So 2 very tough games to follow this up. Felt like we were kind of turning a corner, and we're back to where we are record-wise. So it's kind of a pain. We've lost some games in this stretch. I come on for these post-game shows. I'm like, great basketball. Fell short to the better team. Whatever. We played well. That's what I want. We didn't play well. Darko got this wrong. Individuals played terribly today. Defense seemed to have given up. Missed layup after missed layup after missed layup. And the Raptors will be 15-24 on the season. I mean, you can say, where do we go from here? You're this bad. You're this low in the standings. I mean, I get it. But we're still way up on the Hornets, who beat us. So you can't fall too much lower here in the East. I guess some wiggle room to fall in the West, but without a first-round pick to reliably bank on, this team is going to have to continue to try and win games. So I'd say at this point, it seems pretty likely the Raptors will be involved in a play-in tournament. I think that's something that we can expect to see at this point, but they're going to have to be so much better than this for that to be the case, because the performance tonight was just unacceptable. So this team will be back home, can use a weekend off. I don't think they can play this bad on offense again. The problem is I think they can be this bad on defense again. So we'll see what adjustments are made and how they bounce back, because they played this against Boston. It could look even worse than 140-108, and this game isn't even done yet. So smash that like button if you enjoyed from the content. You may not have enjoyed the game. You may have enjoyed the content here. And subscribe for Raptors watch parties and post-game shows for every Raptors game.